Hi, my name is Lucy and I'm here from the Jackson District Library to talk to you about another database. Today's database is the Literary Reference Center. We're going to find that on MEL, which is our Michigan e-library. We're going to go straight to our e-resources tab. Once you're in the e-resources tab, since we know exactly which database we're browsing for, we're going to scroll down to the e-resource by letter. And we're going to go straight to the L's. They're in alphabetical order. All right, and the Literary Reference Center is going to be all the way down at the very bottom. We're going to go ahead and click on that. While that's happening, while we clicked on it, you're going to see us authorizing the location. MEL is free to anyone who lives in the state of Michigan, or if you're outside the state of Michigan, if you have a Jackson District Library or a Michigan library card or a Michigan driver's license. Before we go any further, I do want to make note of the sign-in. We want to, anytime we're working on a research project, make sure that we sign in so we can save all of our sources and we don't lose them. EBSCO has two options. You can either sign in with Google or you can sign in with an account through EBSCO. Now that account is just a username and password. It's not really tracked anywhere. You can create one now and you can create it easily. Or you can just use your Google account. It's totally up to you. I'm not going to do it today because I'm not actually researching anything for sure. The easiest way in here to find your authors, actually to go to Browse Authors, which is up on the top on the left-hand side. When you're browsing authors, it's going to pull up the full-on name list. It'll also pull up a country list or a culture list, which gets at the culture of the author. It will also get at the genre of the book or the movement. So this will be the literary movement that took place sometime in history that the author was a part of. All of these are in alphabetical order. I am going to go back to the name section though, and I'm going to search for Alice Walker. And when you hit browse, it'll pull up all of the different things. Oh, you got to make sure to search for things with the last name first because I pulled up all the A's. And Alice is her first name, not her last. So we're going to search for Walker Alice instead. And there we go. There she is right there. And I'm going to go ahead and click. Clicking on her name will bring up a wonderful overview of her principal works and a long biography, along with an analysis of most of her works or an overview of her works. And then it goes through the different works and gives you some little analysis on, and gives you some little analyses on the different pieces. It also gives you some discussion questions and a full list bibliography of other sources that may be useful if you are working on a literary criticism of Alice Walker. Now, back up at the very, very top, you will see on the right-hand side we have tools. We can send it to our Google Drive. That's what the Google Drive button's for. If you have an EBSCO account, you can add it to the folder and it will just be saved in your folder. You can also choose to email the file to yourself. This can get unwieldy, but it is another option to save the file so that you have access to it later. All of these options give you a permanent link back to your article here. If you just copy and paste what's up here in the bar, it's not going to work. That authorization will kick in and you will not find your research. Please choose to save it to Google Drive, add it to your folder, or email it to yourself. Please. And if this is an article that you actually want to use in your paper, make sure that you cite your sources. When you're citing your sources, you're always going to want to use whatever source your teacher is telling you to. Most high schools are going to have you use MLA. The nice thing about any citation, so even if you're not working on a research paper, the citation provides you a full direct link. So it's another way to save your sources and make sure you have access to it later. Citing your sources is super important for anything that you did not already know before you started writing your paper or started working on your research project. If you do not cite all of the things that you learned after you started the research project, then you will end up plagiarizing, and plagiarizing has some very serious consequences. So they have gone from failing the paper to failing the class to being suspended from your academic institution. It depends. I've seen all of these happen. Please do not plagiarize. If you're working on a report on Alice Walker, or if you're just trying to learn more about Alice Walker and her works. On the left-hand side, you will see some additional information. Here I have other biographies. I also have literary criticism, which is great. It's going to pull, if you click on that one, it's going to pull up a whole bunch of analyses of Alice Walker's works. And any of these articles will be super helpful if you're trying to analyze her work. You will also find any reviews of her works. You will also find any interviews that she did. Now this won't apply to anyone who is, any authors who are older than the appearance of newspaper and media, so I don't think that you would find any interviews with William Shakespeare. But Alice Walker is more recent. You will find a whole bunch of interviews with her. You will also see any short stories that she's written, also any magazine articles about or by her. These are all very useful things for if you're working on a report on Alice Walker. If you're doing a literary criticism and you are finding yourself wedged into a particular literary criticism and you can't find any more sources and you just need an extra source on a particular thing or on a particular area, we do have the Find Similar Results using the smart text searching that EBSCO offers on all of their databases. So we're going to go ahead and click on that with this particular source, and we're going to see what that pulls up. This is a way to broaden your search results rather than narrow it down. So we went from 100 and some to 4,035. Alice Walker's a pretty prolific person. It does not surprise me that it went so giant. This is going to be less helpful if you already have a good 100 or so articles, more helpful if you are struggling to find enough articles and you're working with like 2 or 3 at the best. Just to remind you, make sure that you are citing your sources and saving your sources somewhere. This concludes our discussion on the Literary Reference Center. If you have any questions, please call Jackson District Library at 905-1358 or email adultservices@myjdl.com.